Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but that's the way it goes.
Case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. Will I what?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Today, John Bolton, as you just heard President Trump say, it's his former national security advisor, and he was indicted by a grand jury. Cenk, it's another ladies and gentlemen, we got him situation. What are your first thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't mind getting John Bolton. I hate John Bolton, but this is not what you do. So he says that he's going to target political enemies, and then he names the political enemies, and then he says they should be prosecuted. And then what an amazing coincidence, they wind up getting prosecuted. So if you don't realize that this is political prosecutions and really deeply un-American, you're missing it. I want to talk about the two reasons why you might be missing it a little bit later, but let's find out more.
Yeah, we have more on this as well, not just with Bolton, but with what Cenk just talked about. And yeah, for the president to say, I had no idea. Oh, really? You had no idea? This is a long line of a pattern of behavior from President Trump. But here is what the indictment says as it was issued today. From on or about April 9, 2018 through at least on or about August 22, 2025, Bolton abused his position as national security advisor by sharing more than 1,000 pages of information about his day-to-day activities as the national security advisor, including information relating to the national defense, which was classified up to the top secret SCI level with 2 unauthorized individuals. And it goes on to say Bolton was also unlawfully retained documents, writings, and notes relating to the national defense, including information classified up to the top secret SCI level in his home in Montgomery County, Maryland. And of course, Bolton and his attorney have both denied any mishandling of this classified material. Bolton's home, you'll remember, was raided by the FBI in August. Over a dozen items, including 2 phones and 3 computers, were seized at that time. 4 boxes, according to Fox News, 4 boxes containing what federal officials called printed daily activities also were hauled from Bolton's home, according to the documents. Now, Glenn Thrush, who writes for the New York Times, stated that Bolton's indictment has more, quote, foundation in evidence than the indictments against James Comey and Letitia James. The Bolton investigation, says Thrush, began under the Biden administration, and former officials involved with the inquiry have said that there was sufficient cause to believe Bolton had mishandled sensitive materials to warrant a search of his residence and office. And that investigation was later dropped. Now, of course, we know it's been revived. And ever since their falling out in Trump's first term, Bolton has been a harsh critic of Trump's, but not on every issue. Bolton strongly backed Trump's military strike on Iran's nuclear facilities in June.
Of course he did.
Calling it a decisive action, the right thing to do, and praising its potential to generate huge change in the Middle East. Now, Cenk chuckled about that, and I did too. He just beat me to it. But at the same time, that was consistent with what Bolton had said previously in his role as national security advisor and then as a talking head. He always advocated for a strike against Iran. But of course, what we both are laughing at, and I'm speaking for Cenk, but I know it, is the fact that, I'm going to support this guy now that I know that my home was raided and all these things are happening to me. And of course, it didn't happen. I think the home was raided in August, but he knew what was going on. He knew these indictments were afoot. So why not kiss up to the indicter in chief? What do you think, Cenk?
Yeah, I don't know that he did it for that. I mean, he's a neocon. He loves all wars. So that's why, I'm not going to shed a tear for John Bolton if a normal mishap happens to him, right? But this is not normal. This isn't about John Bolton. It's about us, our rights, and our democracy and our government. How do we carry ourselves, whether it is friend or foe, politically, right? So, okay, so first let's break down the case, and then let's break down why people might not see it clearly. So number one is, look, they authorized him to write a book. He asked them, went through a process, says, okay, I have these documents, are they classified or not classified? Can I put them in the book? Can I not? They go through that very laborious process and they absolutely authorize him to write it and to include those documents. And now afterwards they want to say, no, we changed our mind. Now you're guilty. Nah, that's crazy. No, we can't do that. So now, is there some credibility to the investigation as opposed to the Comey one, which is just laughable, no basis at all, right? So,
or the James one, by the way, which I think has less.
Oh, Letitia James. Yeah. Again, we broke it down. She says in most of the documents, this is not my primary residence. She even capitalizes it. Okay. Anyway, so in this case, it started under Biden. Okay. And might he take? Is John Bolton the type of character who might take home classified documents he shouldn't? Okay, so it's not like it's implausible. There's no way John Bolton could have done it, right? But they did go through an investigation. They did conclude it, and the Biden team is not really any friendlier to Bolton than the Trump team is.
Right.
Like he's not really liked by anyone other than the neocons, and because he served under Trump as well. So okay, we have prior authorization. We've already had a concluded investigation, and then you have the president going, okay, here's the people I don't like. That James Comey, Letitia James, John Bolton. I wish they were prosecuted. If an attorney general was a good guy, they would prosecute him, right? I'm just saying. And then they get prosecuted. Guys, is this complicated? This is not complicated. We see what's happening here. So, and then of course, then you are left with, yes, one more thing. People are now saying on the right that are in favor of this. Well, of course you raid someone's home if they have unauthorized documents. Really, guys? You forgot like a minute ago? How could they invade Mar-a-Lago for unauthorized documents? That's his home. That's where he lives. I can't believe you guys raided his home for unauthorized. How can you switch in like a matter of seconds to like, oh, of course you raid. That's what you do. Okay, so all right. Now, so why, this is glaringly obvious, right? So why could people be missing? And first of all, of course, you have normal blindness. And in this era, I mean, with Biden's age to like the folks supporting Israel not being able to see the genocide, to Republicans who can't see this. To me, we're in the age of awakening, but before most people wake up, you realize how blind everyone was. Republicans, Democrats, this, that, the other thing. Everyone is like unbelievably blind. So like Democrats are like, what do you mean? Is Biden 27 or 28? I can't figure it out. He's so young and spry. And you're like, no, how could you possibly think that? He's in the 30s. Oh yeah, incumbents in the 30s win all the time. No, they literally never win, right? Okay, so now you turn here and people are like, oh no, every single thing we complained about, we should do right now. How could you not see it, right? Okay, so the second potential reason is the whataboutism. So we're gonna get that from here to eternity. Did you know that Obama actually also did this? Okay, guys, so let's say, okay, first of all, we're the one show, maybe there are others like Democracy Now!, maybe you could name at most a handful, right? But that have been consistent about our principles throughout, right? So when Obama did drone strikes that were unauthorized and unconstitutional, not just regular old drone strikes, which I don't like to begin with, but ones against American citizens without judicial due process, we were livid on the show. When Biden was BSing everybody about his age, we were livid on this show. We don't do whataboutisms, okay? We do principles here. So if you believed in the principle of do not target your political opponents, what do you this is targeting your political opponents. So to me, you could go with the cliche, two wrongs don't make a right. But like if you're in politics or you care about this stuff, are you like, what is the right thing to do? Well, they did it, so I'm gonna do it. Or is the right thing to do, hey guys, this was fundamentally wrong. And we called it out before when the other side was doing it. Now look at us, we're the better guys. We're the ones who are true to America, to our Constitution, et cetera. And we're gonna cut that crap out and nobody's gonna do that anymore. And no, we're not gonna illegally and unconstitutionally arrest our political opponents. Yeah. That would seem to be the way to go, no matter which side you're on.
Right, except, and there's no except, he ran on this. Like he was packing, or somewhat packing, stadiums and arenas around the country saying, and when we get back in office, we're gonna go after Shifty Schiff, and we're gonna go after that attorney general in New York, and we're gonna go after James Comey, and we're gonna do all these things. So in a sense, he is continuing to deliver on this ironic promise that he made, right? You just pointed it out perfectly, Cenk. I mean, he is talking about doing exactly what he was irate about having done to him, which is when they raided Mar-a-Lago. He's also, his administration is accusing, he knows nothing about this, by the way. We have to remember that. We heard him in the Oval Office. Is that he is doing exactly, well, he's going after somebody for doing exactly what he did and others did. And we saw that there were flaws in the way things are archived. And we saw that confidential information and confidential papers are not, the custodians of those items are not doing what they should be doing. And so, yeah, that's what is so infuriating, as well as everything that you just said, Cenk. So
yeah, look, fair show in America. There's some chance that Trump is not technically lying when he says that, because he said, "Well, go prosecute John Bolton. I don't like him." He said, "Okay." Yeah. Does he know all the details?
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Right, but
he probably doesn't.
Yeah, but he right. He wanted him prosecuted. And he was prosecuted.
He doesn't need to know the details.
I believe that he didn't know that even the prosecution was handed down today. I believe that's quite possible.
That's right. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But did he ask them to do it? Of course, he said he did it on TV. Right. We all saw it, right? All right.
And John Bolton is not a good guy. I mean, we've established that for
sure.
years. But by the same token, you don't run an administration this way, and politics of attacking your enemies is unacceptable.
So super last thing is, look, it's political retribution. And to Michael's point on the campaign trail, he was promising political retribution. And he was saying, I'm gonna get basically revenge and stuff. Okay, so at least Trump was honest about that. But then whenever his team was challenged about that, his team was like, how dare you insinuate that he would do political prosecutions? Well, that's outrageous. Well, he just said it on stage, on television, right? And now you're doing it on stage, on television, right? Like, how dare you suggest? Oh, please move on. I can't stand the fake politics of it. I can't stand it from either side. And in this case, the Trump people are like the queens of oh, I'm so offended. I've got the vapors. I can't believe you're suggesting this is political prosecution. Right. Come on, guys, come on, at least be honest.
Right.
All right, we got to take a break here. Now, when we come back, even more disasters because they're thinking of taking our freedom of speech away. Texas has an outrageous case, and maybe even I don't know, these are all parade of horribles, but also the IRS now potentially being used to target political opponents. This is not democracy. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.